All right, I will get started here. Okay. Oops. All right. You guys know why you're here today, and everyone mute themselves just so there's no random background noise, just for the recording too, so you rewatch it. But if you do have questions, feel free to chime in or put it in the chat, and Jordan will read them later. So we're all here to create valuable content to drive traffic through marketing tactics for your brand. Most of you probably know who we are, being you have gotten to this webinar today, but I'm Morgan Molitor from Construction of Style. I'm a wife, mom. We run a design, build, interior residential remodeling company, and then we're also a lifestyle brand and content creating team. So a little bit about our background at Construction of Style. So we started Construction of Style in 2012. I had just met Jamie at the time and really had no idea the level of skill set that he had or his background or anything like that. And so he was buying his first investment property when I met him, and he was like, I bought this home in Andover, I show it to you. And I remember pulling up in the driveway and I was like, what in the world is this? I thought it was a joke. It was a foreclosure. It was very scary looking. But then I started watching like what he was doing to the space. He was updating everything on his own. I was totally blown away by his talents. And that was when I was like, we should start a blog to kind of document all these cool things that you're doing. So we kind of started off as a DIY blog, and that wasn't intentional. It was more so I was just asking him like, how are you laying that tile? How are you, why did you choose these paint colors? How did you take this wall down? And then I just started documenting what he was doing on the blog. And also when we started the blog, this was before blogs were big. So I figured out how to make the website myself. We came up with, the clever name Construction of Style, because he did construction, I was in fashion merchandising, and there was two of us. But that's how it kind of got formed. And we have a full step-by-step guide on our website too, on how to launch a website, how to launch a blog. It took us almost a year to put together, and now I'm able to do that same process with clients within the steps that we provide on our website within a week's time. 2015, we started getting inquiries from homeowners just to see if we could come and do their home. And so that's when we moved into a design build team, and Jamie went and got his contractor's license. And then 2018, we started launching courses and workshops. So my background was fashion merchandising and marketing. And so basically I just kind of took from that skill set what I had learned and carried it over into Construction of Style. So no matter what your brand is, it's all about storytelling and telling your story. So as I mentioned, when we started, we were only focused on telling the story of renovating this first home that Jamie had bought. And one piece of content just kind of led to another. And I think that's what really got us established, is really creating this ultimate storyline. And throughout the years, that's always what we've been doing, is creating a bigger picture than just like one off project and just showing the pretty after picture. Anything like that. So, and I think now more than ever too, and especially the future generations, like before they buy anything, they're wanting to know the brand's background, their lifestyle, their morals, their, it doesn't have to be just their family, it can be their team, their style, their work ethic, like everything, and making sure that fully aligns with them, who they are as a person before they buy from them. So just another reminder to, when you're thinking about the thing you're selling, dial it back and kind of create a bigger picture to lead to someone to trust you to buy from them. So here's just an example of Grayson's room. So for months, we were talking about, how he was a baby moving into a toddler and we needed to transform his room. We always talked about his love for motocross, and then we started talking about how he wanted a motocross theme, how he loved drawing and crafting. We would always be talking about wallpaper. We did tutorials, we did roundups, we did guides. And then, so then this final project that we did when we finally put his room together, we pitched Krylon to get a sponsorship from it. And by that time, we were already captivating our audience and our readers for telling them this whole journey so they felt a part of it. So then I think when we came to the end and we're talking about Krylon and getting our readers to buy Krylon, they were gonna be more apt to buy it than if we just all of a sudden had this random post one day about how we redid Grayson's room, and we had not talked anything about getting people into the full storyline. So really think about what's your story as a brand. What are you selling? What are you talking about? What does your brand fully encompass? And for me, I'm a huge just pen and paper kind of girl, and I'm just constantly just writing down bullet point lists of different ideas, different topics, different categories. So I just encourage you guys to start by getting on a piece of paper or typing it up and just thinking about what you are as a brand and what you fully encompass and the things that you sell. So for us at Construction and Style, it's construction, it's interior design, it's DIY, we do creative development, and we do marketing consulting. So these are the top categories of ways that we're able to generate income from our brand. Then I want you to take those categories and dive it down even deeper, so expand on those lists. So for design build for us, we make money through client projects, interior design selections, construction management, there's process, there's timeline, there's budget, client stories. So all of these things are potentially going to be content ideas that we want to be talking about online, whether it's on our website, with social media channels, newsletters, anything that you're using to sell your brand and yourself. DIY home improvement blog, that can mean flooring, tile, paint color, shopping guides, furniture builds, etc. Creative development, writing blog posts for other companies we create pins, we do our workshops, we do online courses. And then marketing consulting, it could be past clients, current clients, testimonials, case studies, all of those kind of storylines. So then kind of once you know the different categories on ways you make money and you have this huge list, then it's time to create search for content. So I'm always a big fan of Google. It's free, use it. And in my mind, don't create content that people aren't searching for. You want to create content that people are already searching for. Like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. And Google will tell you. So I just think about the things you guys have Googled, and more than likely they weren't, or they were super specific. They're probably 3 to 5 words at least. They weren't just 1 or 2 words. So this is how we come up with content that lives on our website, whether it's a blog post, it's in our portfolio, it's what we're titling our projects, anything like that. It's what we're doing our alt text, our keywords on our website. So if I'm thinking about kitchen cabinets and painting them, I just started typing into Google. Should I?
Very neatly, very orchestrated, very nicely displayed on your homepage. These are the different categories that we offer. That way people can go right to it.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. So I paint my kitchen.
As well as Instagram.
Another question?
Images now that we can use Instagram as a tool to promote.
Okay. I think someone's talking in the background. Should I paint my kitchen cabinets? And I just started writing white, and then it auto-populates what people are already searching for it. So this gives me a ton of different content ideas to talk about. So if we're doing white or off-white, even if we're doing white, we could potentially talk about the differences between white and off-white, the different colors that we use or recommend, etc. So make sure to alter your storylines based on search. One of the ones I'm giving for an example here, I was writing a blog post on maximizing your social media presence, and that's what I was going to title it. So I took those words, I put it into Google, and then what it told me is no one's actually Googling maximizing your social media presence. They're Googling so I changed it to how to improve social media for your business, because that's what people are putting into the search engines. And I want to make sure the content that we create, we're going to pop up on top of Google to get their answer that they're looking for. So utilizing your free analytics to create more content. So whether it's your Google Analytics, your social media analytics, you're looking at hashtag posts, I'm constantly diving into all the analytics on all of our different platforms to, again, create more content that's already performing well. So on the right-hand side, here's just a screenshot of our Instagram analytics. And what this tells me too is some of the best performing content that we have. As you can see, the first top couple are Jamie. They're just off videos with our iPhone. They're construction pictures, they're dirty. Half of these are under construction. So that's like it's telling us that our audience is liking the construction, all these had storylines behind them. On the left-hand side, this is a screenshot of our Pinterest analytics. So I take this, and if I were to click on any of these posts, it would lead me to our blog post on our website. So Delano Basement Finish, that was a project that we did. And so and then I go and look at it. I'm like, why did this perform well? Was it the kitchenette we did? Was it we did a tutorial on the ceiling, how we did a plank wall on the ceiling, subway tile pattern ideas. We knew that performed really well. So we took that same idea and we made it for flooring design. So just to kind of get your, imagination going for additional content ideas. Utilizing your free Google Analytics. If you don't have Google Analytics, that would be the first thing I would do after this call. But I just took this screenshot last night. And so we announced last night that we're having a baby girl this fall. So that's already one of our top blog posts that we're getting the most views from. And so already this morning I was thinking of what other content ideas can I do that's similar. So I typed into Google our gender reveal, and then here's what search was telling me. Create more content from.
So we won't be home for dinner tonight, but I have to cook those wings.
Oh, yeah.
So just like gender
So, so I'm soaking them, and then I'll do the seasoning and put them in the fridge in the garage.
Mute people.
Right.
You what?
I've applied for like 12 jobs this morning. At the Indeed app.
Oops. All right, so then gender reveal picture ideas, gender reveal ideas 2019. That's probably a huge one because of last year. And so already I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna round up because I did different reveals for each of our kids. So I'm gonna come up with gender reveal ideas 2020. I'm gonna link back to old posts of ours. I'm gonna go find other people, link back to their posts. Gender reveal Party City, like I could do a roundup of all the cool things that you can buy from Party City. Then within that roundup, I could also use affiliate links to make additional money through that way. So just a number of different ideas. And then just moving down to the 50 favorite 10 kitchen backsplashes. We have had our eye on that one for a while because it's always performed well again across everything. So we're always going back to that post. We're expanding on, we're creating additional pins, which we'll cover soon. And then we do this, we've thought of more ideas for doing flooring, a roundup of that. And it's for under $10. People like numbers, they also like money. So getting straight to the point and specifics and numbers anytime you can is huge. So now that you're making the content, you guys know how to create content that people are searching for. Now you want to get it in front of people. So utilizing that through social media platforms, through publications, through press, through brand features, guest posts, or collaborations. These are all different ways that we are able to take that content and get it more exposed nationally. So the biggest question is, do I need to be on all social media platforms? I always tell people, yes, you should be. And I know that probably sounds way overwhelming, but I'm going to show you a few ways how it's not. But if it is, I would say at least grab your handles, because often I've seen brands finally years later, they're going on to there and then their handles are gone, their name's gone, and then they have to, I'm sure you've seen it too, like even Emily Henderson, her website isn't the same as all of her social channels. And so I would grab your handles the second any social media platform comes out, regardless if you think you need to be active on it or not. Today, I'm only gonna dive into Pinterest, Google, and Instagram, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about pitching. So tools is key to utilizing all platforms. We are on all platforms, we use all platforms. Here, I just went through how many times we're pinning, how many times we're posting, the tools that we're using, which we'll dive into. But this is a big one that just recently I made a shift. So not even a couple months ago, I was pinning 100 pins a day on Pinterest and maybe spending an hour a week pinning those because of tailwinds. But now we just shifted it to 25 pins a day because there was a new algorithm change, and already our stats are skyrocketing just by making that simple change. So 25 pins is doable for all of you. You can do it. So we're going to talk Pinterest first. So Pinterest, if you don't know what it is a search engine. A lot of times people are like, our audience isn't on Pinterest. I don't care what brand or background your company is. I would argue with you. I think every single person is finding their way to Pinterest, because if you Google something, oftentimes Pinterest are your first handful of in Google, and you're clicking on it, you're on Pinterest, and you don't even fully realize it. And so I would be on there regardless. And I always say too, if your competitors aren't on Pinterest, that's a huge advantage of you to get on it now and get more present, because for us, DIY home, yes, it's way oversaturated. It's one of the biggest things, that and food. So we're up against a lot of other people. And if you're not, you're going to perform on Google through Pinterest a lot quicker than your competitors. So utilizing Pinterest for your brand, in my opinion, equals more page views, more eyeballs on your brand, and all that equals more money. So we're gonna quickly talk about optimizing. Just in case you guys have went through this, I'll go through it fast. Again, I'll send you these slides so you can go back and actually take these steps and do them if you haven't done them already. So here's just an example. I recently did a 30-day Pinterest challenge for free with our audience, and this was just one that I got back from someone, one of many actually, but I just love this because she was upping her game on Pinterest, made such a difference. So within 30 days of her doing this, her impressions went from 2.5 thousand to 160,000, audience 2.16 thousand to 141,000, engagement 73 to 3,000. And all of this means when they're clicking on this, they're going right back to your website, which they learn more about your brand, what you're selling, and are probably more apt to buy from you. And then here's just a screenshot of our Pinterest analytics. And the next things we're about to walk through, this is what I'm doing on a weekly basis to optimize our Pinterest. I'm continuously doing it. And these stats are just continuously increasing year over year, month over month. So I firmly believe that I took this screenshot last night. So optimizing your profile. First, you want to make sure that you have a business account on Pinterest. If you don't, it's very simple. You can do it in 4 steps. I'm walking you through it right here, but you'll get the slides and can do it later. This just depends on your brand. We do run social for a handful of other brands, and they are not the face of their company. They don't want to be, which is just fine. You can use your logo. But we did have our logo for a while, and we just always are making slight adjustments to all of our social to see if it performs. And we always have a close eye on data. And so when we made the simple adjustment of just using a personal profile picture over our logo, that immediately performed a lot better than our logo did. And again, I think it's just people like connection, they like personality, and yeah, and data will always tell. So test it out and see what happens. If you have a team, do a team. If you have a showroom, do your showroom, and just kind of see which performs better. Make sure you have a descriptive bio. Your display name, a lot of times it's just people's name. Again, your bio shows up in search. So people probably aren't going to search Morgan and Jamie Molitor, but they might search construction and style. They might search DIY home. So that's what I changed our display name to. And then your portfolio. Make sure it encompasses all the keywords that your brand stands for. And for example, we are eclectic and colorful home style. So we put that in there just in case someone's searching for that kind of style. We're ones to show up. My friend Jen at Paisley and Sparrow, I love her bio because she has her name, she has her brand name, she has who she is as a blogger, and then the description is really good too. So then you want to go and you want to optimize each board on your profile by adding keywords. So you click on the board, you click on the pencil icon, and then you can edit it. A lot of times, if you guys have started boards, it doesn't walk you through this right away. It will just create your board. So you might not realize that you need to go and edit all this. And again, all these will show up in search engines. So make sure you have a description, make sure the category is right, you have a nice cover photo. Again, you can load up hashtags and all the keywords. It's very rare that someone's actually going and clicking to your board. They're more so finding your images in your boards through Google. So I sometimes, sometimes people are like, I don't like it to look spammy. And I'm like, spam it up if the keywords are going to get you found, which in turn is going to make you more money. So this is just one example. Like you would probably, for us, I would never say we install cheap handmade mosaic tile. And anyone, if you know handmade tile, there is no such thing as cheap handmade tile, but that might be something that someone's going to search because they're just looking for something quick, easy. They're not using these fluffy words. And so that might be something, you know, so think about what other people are searching for, not necessarily what you want your brand to be known for. And then you want to dive in and do descriptions to your pins. And this can be very time consuming because for us, we have tens of thousands of pins. I'm not going to go back and update every single pin, but I think I show on the next slide, just go to your analytics and make sure all those are updated. But so that's clicking on the pin and actually ensuring that what the image is about and what they click through on that image is telling them within each pin. And also here's just another example. So this was within 24 hours that we had posted this, and we got almost 100,000 impressions on it. And it's just another, I think sometimes we can all get caught up on like, we want the pretty picture and we can only have the nice pictures. And again, some of our top performing images, our pins, our content is ones that we just took with our iPhone. It's nothing pretty, but I think it's because it's valuable content and we're teaching someone how to make a concrete countertop for their bathroom. So, and also you need to tell people what to do. So whether it's in social, so even on Instagram, sometimes I think it's so ridiculous that I'm typing like link in bio because everyone knows that the link's in the bio. But when you say that, it makes people think about taking action to going and actually clicking the link in your bio. So even in Pinterest, I'm telling people in the descriptions, in the pin, click to learn more, click to learn about this tutorial, etc. Even on YouTube, you know, you probably see the people like subscribe to our thing, like, yes, duh, you would think, but people are more apt to hit subscribe if you're telling to do it versus just they see it, they're not going to do it. So again, all this can be overwhelming, can take a lot of time. So I just say, go to your analytics, which is on the left-hand side. You click overview and look at your top best performing pins and make sure all of those are updated. So if I were to click on any of these, it would lead me to the post. And then it would lead me to the pin, to the board. I make sure every one of those things are updated with keywords because they're already performing well. So I want to really make sure that people are finding these the easy way and not the long way. So Pinterest scheduling tools, I use Tailwinds. I'll send you this, you can click on it. There's a free month there. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure we pay like $9 a month. But I was able to pin up to 100 pins per day, strictly content from Construction Style website. So it's just a scheduling tool. There's a number of different things you can do on it. There's tribes. So that's with a group of people. If you already know about Tailwinds, you can search for Construction Style Tribe too, get added to it, which means everyone in that group is supporting one another and repinning each other's content. But the key to this is, so here's a screenshot of what it looks like too. So this is my back end of Tailwinds. So right now I have scheduled, I can't really see this, like 600, I think 682 different images. And if I'm doing 25 images a day, the other day this took me maybe 20 minutes. So I'm scheduled out for the next few months. And so I just let it sit back, relax. I don't have to do one thing and it's automatically pinning for me and it's not actually me doing it. So the key to this is have the Tailwinds Chrome extension, which I have a little video here. Let's see if it plays. So it's an extension on your Chromecast. And if I'm on my website, I just click on the construction or on the Chromecast, and then it will pop up. And then all my images will pop up. I put them to what boards I want, and then they're scheduled just like that. I don't know if this will play. So you guys can watch this when I send it to you. All right, Jordan, do we have any questions in the box? Because I cannot see it so far. Okay, stop me, Jordan, if there is. Creating pinnable pins. So this is something that we do for every blog post of ours. So the good news is we used to make graphics like this that would cost us 6+ hours to make, or we would hire a graphic designer. This one cost us $600. So this is actually one together. This is the top. I couldn't fit it into one slide. This is the bottom. And these are good infographics to have on your website if necessary, but what we found is that a simple pin like this is getting way more attention than one of those long, overwhelming pins. And this, we have pins on our shop page. We have 3 different templates for $17. Oh, I muted everyone? Jordan said I muted everyone. Oh dear. All right, let me Slack her quick. I can hear other people. Well, we'll just see. So we also have these on our shop page. Oops. I think we have 3 different templates for $17, but otherwise we use Canva, Photoshop. Canva's super easy to drag and drop images into. But basically you have 2 seconds to grab people's attention. They like bright, bold, shiny objects. So whatever you can get quick and to the point, that works. So here's an example of one pin, like just some text overlay, bold, telling them exactly what to do. So Canva, Adobe, Photoshop we use. People like warm colors such as red, orange, and yellow. Those might not be your brand colors, but use them anyway because they are gonna grab people's attention. And always, if you're creating a pin, do vertical versus horizontal. We've noticed one background images performs better than if we try to put 2 or 3 images into a vertical pin, large bold text, bright color, and make sure that you're pinning directly from your website and not uploading a pin and not linking it back to your website, because that way if you do that, your content's out on the internet, but it's not linking back to you as a brand. Okay, so if create additional pins for well-performing content. So same thing, go back to your analytics. We look at our top pins, and the more you're gonna do, the better. But I would say at least start right now with creating 1 pin from your top blog post. So go to your top post, or it might not be blog post, it might be a thing on your portfolio, it might be your home page. So go back to each of those, take an image from that, do some text. What was that? Okay, here's a question, quick.
Morgan, do you know what she looks like?
I can hear you. So taking just an image, doing text overlay, and it doesn't have to live on the website. You can upload it, but just make sure in the URL it links back to your
really, since my blog and my website went away, I'm kind of like, oh God, I got to start all over with that stuff.
I know. Well, that's one of the things I say too, is like you should have somewhere where it lives and not just on social media, because if it only lives on social media, I've had numerous friends that have had Instagram, they've grown their audience there, and just like that, their account's been shut down, they've lost absolutely everything. So that's also why I'm a firm believer on making sure that you have a website where your content lives, and then using social media to use that as a platform for marketing, but don't use that as your sole platform. Okay, Jordan said, one question: if you're trying to grow your brand, what is a reasonable amount of time to spend on posting social media, daily, weekly? So I'm a big fan of time blocking and batch working. For social media, I do time blocking. So the difference is batch working is a longer extended period of time, whereas batch working is you set a timer, you do a short amount of time, and you get done and to the point. I do batch working for Pinterest because it's simple. I can spend some time. It doesn't drain me, whereas sometimes with Instagram or replying to comments or DMs, it can get a little bit, I could never just sit there and do that all day, so I time block. I usually set an hour a day aside just to make sure that I'm following up on people's questions, I'm answering comments, I'm answering DMs, because I don't want those lingering out there and not giving value to people, because that's the purpose of our brand, is to give value. So I want to make sure they're getting their answers in a timely manner. But when it comes to scheduling out all of our content, I batch work that. I set aside 1 day a week to schedule out all of our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google, Pinterest, all of it. And then I do not do that daily. If I had a post on Instagram daily or Facebook or any of that, I think it would just kind of be a time suck and a rabbit hole, and one thing would lead to another and you'd never get anything done. Another question, how often can you reuse an image on Pinterest? Oh, that's a good one. So I'm always reusing images, like, well, actually the subway tile pattern one, I think we posted that, I don't know, it was for sure a year ago, and we are constantly repinning that onto other boards. That pin we've probably repinned, I mean, at least 100 times. So never think that concrete countertop, that was our first house we made that in, which was 6 years ago. So again, that one, we're constantly reusing, repurposing. We're going back to that post, creating new pins from it because it performs well. That's another thing I always tell people is don't delete images, which has been really hard for us because I go back to a lot of posts and it's performing well. And I'm like, that is the ugliest photo ever, or it gives no, I think it gives no value. I would rather have a different photo. But if you delete it and it's already out there on the internet and pinned onto other people's pins, then it's living out there and it's not finding its way back to you because you just got rid of the connection. So I always say don't delete things either. All right. So back to content. So go back to those, add new pins in. Yes, and then watch the results over the next 30 days. Again, pay attention to the data. Guarantee even if you go back to your last 5 performing posts, 1 pin for each post, if that's all you do after this call, that is gonna increase your page views. So yes, track your results. This is why I track. That's another thing people ask. This is just the easiest for me too, but I'm always, the biggest thing I pay attention to is impressions across anything, our social media, our website, because impressions means eyeballs. So that's the biggest thing, but I also just track on an Excel spreadsheet, nothing fancy, our audience, engagements, and I just do that once a month just to make sure that everything is at least growing in a positive way, and if it's not, then I dive deeper and make adjustments. Any questions? Jordan, you can just type them. Oh, here. So is pinning from your Instagram account a bad idea? If you lose those pins, we'll go nowhere. I don't think it's fine because it's gonna get people to find you. But I would say, think about when you're buying from people. If it's on Instagram, do you send them a DM or for me, I don't necessarily send them a DM because I think they're just gonna get lost in it. I usually click on something. So whether it's their website, whether it's their Etsy shop, whether it's, anything I'm buying or hiring, I'm always clicking through to something else. So if you're pinning from your Instagram, you're just creating one more step for them to get to the end goal to contact you to hire you. So I wouldn't say it's a bad idea. I would just say it's an additional hurdle that people are going to have to take the end goal for all of us, I'm sure, is making money. So that's just another step. I do not personally pin anything from our Instagram because everything that lives on our Instagram lives on our website. Okay, next we're going to talk about Instagram. So I have a love-hate relationship with Instagram. I'm sure like all of you, the biggest thing we use for it is just building relationships, and that's what I really stay focused on. There's so many things that we could discuss on this, but I'm just going to keep it to the top 3 biggest things that I've been learning as of recently. And it's to build our community and also not lose our sanity, because I never want Instagram to turn into a place that's not a positive place and that sucks the energy and life and soul out of you. So here's my one biggest thing. Don't let content live solely on social media. You don't own your social media platform. That's another reason why I'm a big believer in WordPress over another website, because WordPress is renting. If you're on WordPress, you own your website. If you're on all those other websites, you're basically renting it, and those could also crash and then you lose all your content. But I also know that a lot of the other ones are way easier to navigate. I get it. They're probably less expensive, all those things. But regardless, just make sure your content doesn't only live on social media, especially Instagram. So own your content and use social channels as platforms to push and market it. So same as everything, tell a story. So for the design build industry example, like If I just randomly put a photo, the after photo of a project we did for a client, and I didn't take our audience on the entire journey, they'd probably look at it and be like, cool, but they don't feel connected to it. They don't feel engaged. They might think it's a pretty picture and like and comment on it. But really, to me too, it's like, what's the end goal? Like, I want people to buy from us, to trust us, to be a part of the project with us, the part of the journey. Here's a screenshot I took last night of our Instagram. Our top posts are, so our 4 top posts right there are showing ones where we're taking our audience on a journey. So that board and batten, again, these are all iPhone pictures, nothing high quality, showing a board and batten. We spent all last week doing this in a client's home, and I documented the entire process, showing people how to do it, showing them why we chose the color black, the good, the bad. That's something that Jamie also had to get used to, because he is a contractor, licensed, insured, all that. He wants to look like he knows what he's doing. So sometimes we would run in, not for this project, but other ones, we'd run into problems or hiccups, and I would talk about it. And he's like, I do not want you to put that online because it looks like I don't know what I'm doing. But finally, he figured it out. Like, people like to know that we're human too, and sometimes we don't have it all figured out. So sharing, like, oh, we ran into a situation, our problem, this was our challenge, now here's our solution and how we overcame it. And people love to know that, because if everything went perfectly, like, no one wants to just watch this perfect storyline. So then our living room, we're taking people through that journey. And then the last 2 on the bottom right, both of those we're talking about things that led them to a blog post. So one, we were talking about kitchen appliance or microwaves and where to put them. So that was a huge one. Again, creating a story, driving them back to our website. The one of Jamie and Topher. Topher did a blog post talking about how tips to hiring the right contractor. Again, driving them back to our website where we're giving them value. So yeah, what I say too is in stories, don't just post random videos, like create a storyline. That's why they're called Instagram stories. And I say the same thing about your posts. Like, create a storyline, take people on the journey from the beginning to the very end. Yes, write with purpose and give value. I would say, think about you and who are you drawn to on any social media. Like, are you laughing? Are you crying? I guarantee you probably feel an emotional connection to them, and that's why you're following them. That's why you're going to their account. Here's just one, House on Sugar Hill. I just love her. I'm constantly going to her account every day because she inspires me. As you can tell in her caption, she always writes meaningful captions. I love how in this one, she's bringing people back to her stories. But this is also like talking about someone else. So already just by reading this, I'm like, I'm invested in this new bedding line. I'm checking them out because I've, grown an emotional connection to her. So just make sure anything that you're posting, you're also giving value. One thing I always say too is, this is what I do. I try to do with blog posts, social media. At the end, once I type it up, I reread it, and any eyes I try to change with you, because people want to be put in your shoes, and they don't just want to hear you talking about yourself or your brand. They want to be knowing what value, what they're getting from you. Use effective hashtags. A lot of people don't use hashtags or think they're spammy. Hashtags are huge for us and how we get additional views on our channels. So I always do 30 hashtags to every Instagram post I do, and I leave them as a comment within the post. I don't just, I don't put it within the actual caption. And if you're not sure what kind of hashtags to use, go and look at people in your same industry, see successful people, see what hashtags they've used, copy and paste them, maybe tweak them a little bit and add your own. Otherwise, just start typing in the search. I started typing kitchen reno. Here, there's probably 50 in here. I just copied and pasted every one that Instagram's suggesting, because again, they are telling me right here what people are searching for, the hashtags they're looking at. So you want to make sure that your images are showing up for those hashtags. I don't know about you guys, I follow a handful of hashtags, which you can do. So if someone's following a hashtag I'm using, I'm going to show up in their feed regardless of if they're following us or not. So here's all the other things with Instagram, which you guys probably already know, but they are effective. So engaging, leaving genuine comments, being genuine within your own captions, supporting other people, whether they're your competitors or other people in the industry. Collaborate is huge. Here's Joinery Design. Sarah's one of my good friends, and she is so amazing at doing different sorts of collaborations. She has one going on right now that you can go check out in her stories, but she's getting together with a group of DIYers, and each day, each of them are doing a different DIY. So it's like there's 5 audiences that are helping one another capture the new audience, because then they're talking about the other person, driving to them, again, to get value, not just to say, hey, go follow this person for no reason. And then just time blocking is huge for social media for me. I set aside a certain amount of time, and that's I'm on and I do what I need to do in all these categories and I get off. Otherwise, you could spend your entire day on Instagram, and then by the end of the day, you're feeling drained and exhausted and all the things. Here's the tools we use for Instagram. We use Later for all of our scheduling. We use a color story for editing sometimes. Hype Type and Word Swag. Word Swag is the biggest one we use. So that's anytime we put like before on a picture or things in stories. It just gives really pretty font, free, easy. And then we use Lightroom for all of our editing. I did a 30-day social media challenge, and I got questions about why do I use Later for Instagram versus Buffer, because I use Buffer for all my other social media channels and not Instagram's the only one I don't. And you can use Buffer for Instagram as well. It's one less tool. But the reason why I use Later is you can visually see what your layout's gonna look like in your Instagram, and then you can move things around and drag and drop. And I really like that aesthetic. I also like it gives you different analytics. You can load in your hashtags in there, which you can't on Buffer. So I can save them there. So I just like that. But if you don't want one more tool, like Buffer does a great job at adding that in as well. All right, Jordan, any questions? Okay. Google My Business. This is such an easy one that a lot of people aren't on. That's why I'm talking about today. And this is just huge. So for example, we only use Buffer to schedule out our Google, and that's it. So we do very minimal. I know there's so much more that we could be doing and optimizing, but that's what we do. And so basically I never go on Google to post anything, but I just went on there. I set it up a while ago. I added some images in. I made sure to add our messaging. I'm always asking for reviews after projects on Google, because that's a huge way. Again, your brand is going to show up in search engines. And so just by the minimal posting that we do, we are getting in front of 2.69 thousand views. And so I'm like, that's a lot of people within 1 month. If I wasn't on Google, that we wouldn't be getting our brand in front of. And again, if anyone's going to be hiring us and they're looking something up, they're going to type construction style into Google, and all this information is going to pop up. If we weren't on Google, they would kind of be finding their own information and own, probably going down rabbit holes, and maybe for some of you, places that you don't want them to be going. So if you are on Google My Business, this will appear immediately before anything else. I already talked about Google Analytics. Make sure you guys have that on your website, because this is just a free tool that you can use to measure a lot of different things. And then this is the how to sign up for Google Business if you guys aren't. So you'll get these steps and you can follow them if you're not. So if someone Googles construction style, I just did this morning, like this is what's going to show up, like our Instagram, our Twitter, our website. And on the right-hand side, this is the snippet that shows up because we're signed up for Google. If you're not, this isn't going to show up for your brand. And I just think this is visually appealing. People are going to be clicking on this right away. That's kind of where your eye draws to. And this is all the information that you input. Here I put our products. That's our different courses that we have on our website. And so that someone could click on that and potentially buy our courses. So you can put anything that you guys sell on your site, you can be putting that into your products, or there's a service one that you could have on here, portfolio, all the above. Any questions, Jordan? Okay, just type them in Slack as they come in. If you guys have questions, again, leave them in the comments section. Okay, so last we are going to cover pitching to press, brands, and publications. So this is something that we're, again, continuously doing, pitching to marketers, brands, publications. We like to do sponsorships through other things, but if you don't do that, it's just another great way to build your portfolio, all that kind of stuff. So one, you need to develop a story hook. You need to find the right contact person, and you need to have solid email pitches. So here's an example too. This was last year. We were doing planting our garden, and we've already started the storyline on this for our website this year, but we started from the beginning, taking our readers through doing the garden, how we were involving our boys, what they were learning through the process, what we were planting, why. We're no garden experts, so talking about why we're not doing some things over other things. And then I pitched Krylon to sponsor it, got that. And then once it was all said and done, I took the befores and afters. I already had the story hook, and then I started pitching it to, so I had already pitched the brand to get paid for a sponsorship. Then I started pitching it to press and publications to get it featured in different articles. So here's the thing, the value of exposure. I always say first know your why. Like, why do you want to get published? And I ask this because, well, everything in life, you should know your end goal. You should know why you're working so hard. This isn't as easy, you know, so simple. Your value, the reward for why you're doing it. And so do you want exposure? Do you just want someone to share your thoughts or opinions? Industry credibility is a big deal. Going viral. Of course, I always say don't just try to get published just so you can say, hey, I was in this magazine and nothing else. Again, everything should be to make more money, right? So for us, getting published, we try to use that publicity to lead to a different additional profit. So for one example is we can take all the places that we have been published, we have it in our media kit, and now actually the middle of last year, so I was doing a number of different speaking engagements for free, but now that I have this different places that we have been exposed to, I use all that leverage. And I go back to them when they ask for public speaking, and I say, we charge X amount. And since everyone's paid for it, and I'm like, why was I spending all this time, you know, doing it for free when I could have been making money? But I think if I would have started doing that and I didn't have any publications or publicity under it, people wouldn't define us as an expert in that. So why should they be paying us? So using TV exposure, all these different things we have tried to use to back for money. So our courses that we offer, our workshops that we offer, all cost money, and all these things the credibility we use to sell those different things. Here is my favorite thing that I recently actually learned. So the biggest question is always, how do I find the right contact? Clearbit.com, a website. You can find any email in under 5 seconds, whether it's publication, anything. So if you're looking for something, just go on there, look for it. Otherwise, you can go to the brand's website, look for their press inquiry. If you send out a tweet, this is what I used to do, is send out a tweet publicly. The brand publication will always answer because it's public. They don't want something lingering out there unanswered. You can send an IGM. However, I think those quickly get lost, and I wouldn't definitely, like, that wouldn't be my first way to go about it. Or I would just pick up the phone and call their customer service and ask for a contact for their PR. So, and we also have on our courses, we have a full pitching, how to land sponsorships, how to get published. We provide our different email templates, downloadable email templates that you guys can use. Also, so here's our media kit. So this is what we use when we're pitching brands, publications, other features. We've used this as, because some magazines too, you have to pay to get in them, and we've used our media and our influence to get better rates, if not for free, to get featured in them. And here's an example of the kitchen bath we got on the cover, but we probably wouldn't have been able to if we hadn't had these press and publications. Okay, we got some questions. So how do you make money off your website? I see you have affiliate links. Okay, so we have a number. So we do affiliate links. We do brand sponsorships with brands. So basically we're their walking billboard and get paid from it. We have ads on our website where we make money through. We have clients, obviously. Yeah, so affiliate, ads, clients. Oh, and then we do in-house workshops. And one was supposed to be tomorrow, but now it's online. And our courses. So yeah, those are the 5 different ways we're able to optimize our website off different revenue. for Google My Business, I've heard different information about whether or not an online business can use it. Do you know if Google My Business is available for online stores? Oh, like selling? So you probably can't sell just your product, but you definitely will be able to upload your brand, so your website, because it's a brand. So you can put, yeah, who you are as a business, put all that information, but you can't just probably put, here's my product, my one product that I'm selling. But my recommendation would be, if you have a blog or a resource, you can call it, a lot of people don't like blogs, call it something different, but it's just basically a page that has information that you can continuously be updating. And then I would say, take what you're selling, make a post about it, and do like a roundup, whatever it is. Say it's, I don't know, it could be insurance packages, like your top 5 insurance packages and why they're valuable, why someone should be buying them. And then you can take that post and put it onto Google. Do you need to have grown your following before looking into publishing? Absolutely not. I think that's always the biggest misconception. A lot of times people are like, I don't have a good following, so I can't get published, or I can't do a collaboration, or I can't get a brand sponsorship. I don't agree with that. I think it's the value of the content that you're creating. For the brand side, if we're pitching a brand to do a sponsorship, I always look at it as we're an extension of their marketing team. We are creating content that they can use. We're creating a storyline. They don't have to hire a marketing agency to come up with a storyline that works. They don't have to come up with photographer, videographer, all those different things that they are paying for, resources for, and you're taking all those things, bundling it into one, and potentially they're using that for their marketing. But when it comes to publications, no, and getting featured in magazines or newspapers or different things like that, absolutely not. It's whatever you're pitching, and I would just make sure to have a story hook, get concise and right to the point, and why, say, for example, right now we're trying to do our basement, pitch that. I'm not going to just pitch a publication and say, here's our basement remodel that we did. We would love to have it featured. Like, I'm going to talk about why basements don't have to be boring. That's one that I'm saying. And then I'm talking about why they don't have to be boring. I'm giving 5 bullet point lists, like we did crazy tile. That's maybe too crazy for some people. Incorporating different furniture that you wouldn't necessarily think of putting in your space. We had tutorials behind what we did in that space, providing those. So it's just, don't look at your following. And I always say that regardless, don't ever look at your following. Look at the value you're creating from the content you're creating. And make sure it's valuable. Like, take a look at that. And if it's not valuable, make sure it is before you start pitching. And other question, if you were just starting and going to build a website, which site do you recommend? I always recommend WordPress from the beginning because, again, I've also had friends that have launched on other websites, which I'm not familiar with any other. Also, I did work at a digital marketing agency in Minneapolis. We never recommended any other website besides WordPress because, again, you own it. And I think even if you are just starting, I hope your end goal is to be extremely successful. And I'm just always one that just jumps right to over all those things because I don't want to learn one platform just to grow and then have to learn another one. And then it kind of almost pushes me to just get going right away, not waste time, get to that point that I want to be at. Even for our courses, there was cheaper version platforms to use. I did Kajabi, but Kajabi was probably the most expensive. But I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this half-ass. I want to do it to make money and be successful at it. So I'm just going to invest right away and work my ass off to make sure I get to that goal that I wanted to be at. So I recommend WordPress. Again, on our website, on the drop down, we have how to start a website, and it has all the steps and why we use WordPress. The one thing I would say is maybe if you don't want to or have the resources to, because it can be very expensive, the place you can cut costs for that for your website is getting a template for the design. Because if you were to hire an agency for design, I know our agency that we work with, I don't think they build a website for under 20 grand. Like, I would never pay 20 grand to build a website right now. But so I put it in our tutorial too, but it's, and anything off Etsy, they have a ton of different ones, but the big one, which I used and recommend, is angiemakes.com. And she does templates and installs them onto your WordPress, all of it within a day. for 60 bucks. And so that's super inexpensive. And I'd say start there because you can always adjust the design later once you kind of get up and going. Okay, is there any other questions? It's 12 o'clock on the dot. I didn't think I'd be able to get through all that in an hour. All right, well, if there's no other questions, that's all I got. Here's all of our information. You can also email me, which our email's on our website. My personal one's on the website in the About page. I'm an open book, as I hope you guys know, so always happy to help with whatever marketing you have or questions that you have. And if I don't know the answer, I'll point you in the right direction. All right, thanks, Cam. Oh, Tanya. Megan, thank you. And yeah, I'll send this off to all of you guys as well. So in the email, I'll send it through our newsletter so that you guys have it and you can run back through it if you're gonna implement these changes. Okay, thanks, have a great day. Yay. You guys are so sweet. If anyone wants to talk to and has questions they want to get answered right now, feel free. I can stay on. Thank you, Kelly. What is your background? Oh, my background is, I went to school for fashion merchandising and marketing. So I actually went to school in California for fashion merchandising, and then I came to Minneapolis, and actually the marketing side kind of took off when I got going with Jamie at Construction of Style, because I learned there's so many different ways that you can make money through different marketing tactics. So just kind of went there. And when I applied at the digital marketing agency, I really had no background, but luckily they hired me. And I learned so much through that. So yeah, my background isn't in interior design or anything like that. It's just kind of, I have a creative mind and it's just kind of evolved. Yay, marketing is hard, I know. And if you guys ever have questions with marketing too and want to know more, not just emailing me, but letting me, we have tons of resources and guides and blog posts on our website. And anytime I get questions too, I usually type up a blog post and get it live to help others as well. All right, ladies that are left, I think you're good. So I'm going to log off and I hope you all have a great day.